right? Like we're seeing it everywhere. People are more reactive about stuff. So we have this planet of distortion of reality that's moved into a sign that's very strongly associated with fighting and glorifying fighting. So there's going to be a lot of campaigns and energy in general around like the glorification of conflict. That's very like Neptune and Aries, like fight for your country.
Okay, guys, Asya Rose here today. We're going to talk astrology. Let's do it.
Awesome. Thanks for having me here, Sean.
Absolutely. You've already made some predictions that have come true this year, right?
Yeah.
A lot of them.
A lot of them. There's still a lot more to come, but yeah.
What were some of the major ones you predicted?
So last October, I filmed a video, again, October 2024, where I predicted that Donald Trump was going to win the election. And I even said that in the video. I said, you know, I know this is going to upset some people, and I know it's also going to empower some other people. And some people really liked what I said, and other people didn't, right? Because there's a lot of polarity right now on both sides. And I said, guys, I know there were a lot of astrologers at the time that were predicting Kamala Harris winning. And I said, guys, I am not projecting my own personal beliefs or personal bias on what I want to happen. I'm simply just reading the planets and reading the energy, and this is what I see happening. Some people didn't like it, some people did. But in November, that's what happened, right? Like Donald Trump became elected.
Yeah.
So that was like one of the first. Then I did like a whole predictions forecast on my website and stuff. Back in December, I talked about how there's going to be increase in wildfires this year. I talked about how there's going to be plane crashes. I talked about how the stock market is going to start crashing. I talked about how there's a potential for a blackout. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that some of which we've already seen and some still to come.
Yeah. The plane crash one spooks me because I fly so much.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like that's happening almost every week at this point.
We're still in this disruptive energy. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, people blow up my DMs all the time. They're like, when is it safe to get on a plane again? Like, you know, because at first I was talking about it last year about plane crashes this year, and people were like, oh, whatever. You know, they weren't really paying attention. And now that it's actually happening, people are messaging me all the time, like, when is it safe to get on a plane? And I'm like, listen, the energy's still chaotic. Right now, things are kind of unpredictable, especially come to some of the like big shifts that are going to happen this summer in the astrology and in the planets. So like, I didn't say that this is a definite, right? What I'm doing is I'm reading the energy, right? And I'm saying historically, when this energy has happened, that's what's happened historically in the past. Like, this is my prediction based on what I'm seeing the planets are saying, right? So there's different ways things can manifest in reality, right? I personally said, I'm not telling anyone else that they don't need to fly, but I would not feel comfortable getting on an airplane during this time period.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't tell everyone, don't get on a plane, like fear for your life. But I said, I personally don't feel comfortable traveling.
That's why you drove here.
Well, you saw what happened on the road when I drove here. It sounded like it was
And I saw a nasty accident this morning too, when I was coming through my house. No, it was a different accident. Yeah, it was so bad.
Yeah, I think what's happening is there's going to be increased disruption with technology, with how we're getting technology, with our GPS systems, with air traffic control. We're already seeing it play out. This isn't ending anytime soon. So when there's disruption, even in like satellites and tech stuff, that is going to affect planes. That is going to affect cars, especially like all the chips we have in our cars.
Electric cars.
Yeah, electric cars especially, right? So
I don't think I trust electric cars.
I don't have an electric car.
So I have a Tesla.
Oh, you do?
I got locked in it in a parking garage in Vegas.
Okay, so what did you do?
So it was super hot. Luckily, I had my phone on me, so I called my fiance.
Okay.
And she looked up a video on how to manually open an electric car. Because when the battery dies, you can't open it. You're just stuck inside. So Tesla had that feature.
I have some friends who have Teslas who like have told me because I was considering getting one.
Yeah.
I have some friends who had Teslas who told me that and I know not everyone has this type of experience with a Tesla, right? Before all the Tesla lovers come at me. But they had like their screen just like blacked out while they were driving in the middle of the freeway.
Jeez.
And they couldn't tell like how fast they were going. You know, I guess everything is on that screen. So if it blacks out, like you don't know how to drive essentially, right? Because you don't know how fast you're going. You can't see the lanes. You can't see anything.
Yeah.
So I think to 2 of my friends had that experience. So I think for them, that was a pretty scary experience. And I think that's a risk we take when we like put all of our trust in technology and all of our trust in electronics. If there's a glitch or a hack, it means you're fucked.
Yeah. I also just feel worse in electric vehicles. Like I'm big on EMF. I'm wearing a necklace. I got this EMF thing right here.
Awesome.
I don't know. Some people are more sensitive than others. I
know there's a lot of like theories out about that. I know that there's been some reports of like women who, when they get into, or they've been driving Teslas, or electric cars in general, that they have had, like changes in their cycles.
Damn.
Hormonally and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not a scientist. I haven't done the studies on that. So please don't fact check me on that. But like, I've read some of those articles and stuff. So I know that, I don't know how legit those articles are, but I have seen stuff like that come out where people have said like, I swear it's my car.
Yeah, I can see that. So what's the specific branch of astrology you specialize in? Because there's a lot, right?
There's a lot. I've studied a lot of Western astrology, karmic astrology, Hellenistic astrology, and I kind of do like my own take. I combined like everything that I learned into like my own unique way of doing astrology, which is why like some of my predictions are a little bit different than some other people's. What I do is I essentially read the energy of the planets, right? A lot of people will say, like, why is that important, right? Well, science has proven that energy, everything has energy, right? We are all matter. Matter has energy, right? And each planet has a different like energetic field, and it manifests differently depending on the sign it's in and depending on the planet that's in that sign, right? So we can see, this planet is shifting its pattern in the sky. It's moving from this energetic field into this energetic field. How can that manifest? So what I do is I look at those shifts. I also compare like what's happened in historically. Well, historically, like when that planet, which we'll probably talk about today, when that planet switched into this sign historically, the US has gone to war and stuff like that. So I will see certain things and I'm like, so historically this happened, that happened, that happened. We're entering that same type of energetic field this year. So that's why we're able to like see certain predictions of, it doesn't mean that like the exact same thing will manifest in the exact same way, but you're talking about like the energy, the potency for it to manifest that way is very high.
Right.
At the end of the day, we also have free will. I always say this, like astrology is like getting a weather report, right? You look at your phone and you're like, is it raining tomorrow? You still have free will to decide what you do about the rain. You can stay indoors and you're like, I don't want to fucking deal with the rain. You can go outside with an umbrella so you're prepared, or you can go outside naked and get wet. You don't care because you're like, whatever, I love the rain, right? But the energy is happening regardless. It's going to rain regardless of what you do about it. It's just a matter of how you handle it and what you do with that information, right? That's what astrology is. I always say it's like gravity, right? It's happening whether everyone's like, I don't believe in astrology. I'm like, you don't need to believe in it. It's happening whether you believe in it or not, right? It's just the energy at play. Once you pay attention to what's happening with the planetary arrangements and alignments, then you can figure out, how do I use this to my advantage? Or what do I do with it, right? Astrology is going to open doors. You as a person of free will can decide, do I walk through this door or do I close it? So there's a lot of like debate on like fate versus free will. They're both like prevalent. Yeah. They're both important.
I was always fascinated why more women were attracted to astrology than men.
Actually, I will debunk this. I have seen more male clients in my business in the past 6 months than in like the previous 3 years.
Really? Okay, so guys are waking up then.
Guys are waking up, yeah. And I'm speaking anecdotally. I'm not saying this is the case for everybody who's an astrologer, but personally in my business, I've seen more male clients than ever. Men are waking up, and these are not just like dudes where their girlfriends come in and they're like, my girlfriend wants me to get a chart reading. These are people who are like genuinely interested. Oh, there's some merit to this. I've seen your predictions. I know that you know what you're talking about. Like, tell me what I need to know about in my life, right? So when I read the energy, I'm reading it in 2 different ways, right? I'm reading what's happening collectively. Where are we energetically going collectively as a humanity, right? As humanity. You need to get that?
No, water bottle cap.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure I gave you time to get that. And then I'm also reading individually, right? When I look at someone's individual chart, I'm saying, well, individually, that's what's happening for you. So you get to decide, okay, just because the world is chaotic doesn't mean your life is also going to be chaotic at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's why like shit will be going crazy collectively, but like somebody will be really thriving. You may have like a really great year regardless, and somebody else, things may be going really great with humanity and collectively, and then you may be having a shitty year.
Yeah.
Because like we can see seasons, we can see cycles. It's not just about like, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What is my purpose? I can see like what season of life you're in, what cycle you're in. And that really helps give people perspective of like, when they come see me, they're like, why do I feel like I'm constantly pushing a boulder uphill right now? And I'm like, because you're in this ocean right now and you're fighting the waves of the natural ocean you're in.
Yeah. So is that true that every certain amount of months or years, you're going to have a negative, like a dark period?
It's not every certain amount of months or year. It's different for everybody, but there are periods that we go through darker stuff because it forces us to go inward and have like, whether that's an ego death or have a spiritual awakening, or whether it's forcing us to like really go inward and reflect in a deeper way and capacity than we need to. For most people, when things are going really well in their lives and like things are flowing and you're having a really good time, I'm not speaking for everybody, but for a lot of people, they're too busy like living their life and enjoying their life to sometimes go inward and reflect on things. And very often, sometimes an astrological cycle will come in and it'll be like, it's time to wake the fuck up.
Yeah, I'll humble you real quick.
Yeah. I've definitely been humbled many times.
Same. Yeah. Ego death is what they call it, right? That's happened to you?
Yeah. More than once.
I've had at least one, maybe two, if I really thought about it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few cycles and it's not a matter, most people, they fight them, myself included.
Yeah. It's natural to want to fight against it, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, because you're fighting your own ego. That's not easy.
Yeah.
Right? We all have attachments to like who we think we are or who we need to be or, you know, what we think we're here for. You know, or the narrative that you told yourself your whole fucking life. Well, I can't do this because my parents raised me like this, or my coach from 6th grade told me this, or this. Like, we get attached to narrative so fucking quick. And the astrology comes in and it's like, that's not what you're here for.
Do you believe everyone has their own mission, their own purpose? Yeah. And can you learn that from astrology? Really?
Yeah.
How does that work? Through the planets?
Through the planets, and you can see, okay, this is the energetic space. This is which area of your chart it's in. Now I know that like your mission in your life is through family and how you approach family. Your mission in your life is through career and how you like shine in your career. Your mission in life is to be a disruptor. Your mission in life is to, you know, I don't know, like start a new religion or whatever. So you can see all of that stuff. Yeah, for sure.
How are the planets shaping out right now? Like what's going on right now? There's probably a lot, but...
A lot. Where do you want me to start?
Yeah, I guess is Pluto in Aquarius right now?
Yeah, Pluto is in Aquarius right now. Pluto is known as the planet of death, rebirth, transformation, metamorphosis. It is literally the epitome of like the phoenix rising from the ashes energy. It comes in, it's a big disruptor. It comes in, it burns shit down to build it back up. Okay? So, you know, a lot of people get excited because they're like, oh, I want to be a phoenix rising. And I'm like, yeah, but you have to remember, in order for the phoenix to rise, something has to burn down to ashes first. That wasn't working. It never comes in, like, he's the god of the underworld. So he never comes in to like expose shit for the sake of it. He's like, this has always been here, but it's always either been hidden from you or you've chosen to have a blind spot to it. So he comes in and he's like, guess what? I'm going to expose the truth. I'm going to expose what's hidden because something needs to end here and something new needs to be birthed here. So in 2008, Pluto moved into the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn rules banks. It rules governments. It rules institutions. What happened in 2008?
They all crashed.
Yeah. He came in and he was like, I'm going to expose what's really going on here because something new needs to happen. Something needs to shift, right? That's what he did back then. He moved into Aquarius. Pluto moved into Aquarius last year. Well, he was going in and out of two signs last year. So he was just like dipping his feet into two different energies, right? This year, it's like really solidified. And Aquarius is about humanity, the collective. It's about spiritual, like how are we waking up collectively? And Capricorn is very much about like government and people in power that shouldn't be in power.
Yeah.
And Aquarius is about bringing the power back to the people. So that's why you are going to see, and we are going to see revolutions, rebellions, way more than we've ever seen before. Like historically, the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, we had the American Revolutionary War.
Wow.
We had the French Revolutionary War where the people literally had an uprising and killed their own king.
Jeez.
So I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but if I'm reading the energy, I'm like, the people are supposed to be rising up to take their power back right now. And that's the whole point of Pluto and Aquarius that I'm telling everybody. I'm like, everyone is, there's like such division. Everyone's like left, right, red, blue. I'm like, you guys are missing the fucking point. I'm like, it's not about the right side or this right side, right? The left side it's not about that.
Distraction.
It's totally a distraction. It's about where have we given our power away to the people we've elected? And we said, this person is in the White House, so therefore they're going to make the change. Or that person, we need to have elected that person's going to make the change. You're missing the whole fucking point. You're still giving your power away. Pluto and Aquarius is like, where can you take your power back as an autonomous human being for yourself? Where can we collectively take our power back? That's why we've seen mass uprisings of people in humanity. Like, you're seeing it now with protests. It's not about sides. It's about who's actually in fucking power and when can we take our power back. There is strength in numbers, and somehow we have forgotten that. We've forgotten that there is strength in numbers. If we all rise up together, we can make change. But instead, we're electing one person or one administration or one this to make the changes for us. That's the whole point of the astrology right now. The astrology is going to tell you it's not about who's going where. It's not about who you're electing. It's about what are you doing? What are the changes that you're making?
Yeah.
Because the power is not in who you're putting in that office. The power is like, you can make change yourself. And a lot of people don't want to admit that. They want to be like, well, it's that person's fault or it's that person's fault.
Yeah.
Because when you come to the realization that you have the power, it means, that's a hard pill for some people to swallow. It means you've always had the power. Yeah.
No, you're so right, though. A lot of people are quick to blame the president for the economy or whatever issues they're dealing with in real life.
It's not even just the president. It's like, here's the thing. Regardless of who is going to get into that office, there is going to be a disruptor. That's what the astrology was saying. It didn't matter if Donald Trump was in the office before November's election, then we would have elected the other side. Right? Like, this year is all about disruption. So whatever the status quo, whatever the norm was before leading into this year, there was supposed to be a disruption. And people are making it about like one side versus the other side. And I'm like, it's not about sides. We're due for, Pluto's coming in to expose shit.
Yeah.
We're due to realize that, like, why are we giving like all of our power away to the wrong people, to the wrong corporations, to the wrong situations? That's the whole point.
That makes sense. So are we in the Age of Aquarius right now?
Yeah.
Let's go. That's my sign.
Oh, you're an Aquarius?
Yeah.
You're here to be a disruptor. Do you know Aquarians are the rarest zodiac sign?
Are they? I wonder why that is.
There's less Aquarians than any other sign.
Wow.
One is because the time period for Aquarius is...
Oh, yeah, because February shortened.
And another reason for that is because, I personally like to joke that Aquarians, or people with a lot of Aquarius in their chart, you guys reincarnated from the future.
Really?
Yeah. Or I know people are going to get stuck on semantics. Maybe you can use the word time traveled from the future or whatever you want to say. It's because that's why a lot of people who are Aquarians or have strong Aquarius placements in their chart, growing up, they're always like, I never quite fit in. I felt like, I always joke with my Aquarius clients, I always say, you probably like going to school were like, I don't feel like I'm supposed to be here yet.
Yep. 100%.
Like, I don't get society. I don't get it. I can't quite find my group of friends. I can't quite fit in. Like, I don't really understand like why I can't just like blend, because you're not supposed to blend.
I tried so hard to fit in. I couldn't do it.
Well, that's why you couldn't, because you're not supposed to fit in, Sean.
Yeah. Well, now I know that, but back then I had no idea.
That's the whole point of Aquarians. Like, you guys are here to usher us into the future. Aquarians are the mavericks. You are the visionaries. So if you're reincarnating or into our world and you're trying to fit into our world when we're supposed to be listening to you to help usher us into the future, the energy's off.
That makes sense.
You guys got to own your stuff.
Yeah. Shout out to Aquarians, man. We gotta run this stuff for you guys.
I know. Well, that's the thing. Now that Pluto is in Aquarius, it's like the world is finally going to be ready for you.
That's exciting.
Where before, it wouldn't have been, right? Capricorn is also, when Pluto was previously in Capricorn is very much a sign that's associated with like rules, regulations, limitations. These are the rules, follow the rules. This is the box, stay in the box. That's not Aquarius. Aquarius is the rebel, thinking outside of the box, these are your rules, fuck your rules. I'm going to rebel against the rules. I'm going to think outside. I'm going to think differently. It embraces what makes us different and unique. So we also, if you would have tried to do this earlier in your life, it also wouldn't have worked because collectively, energetically, we were in a cycle where it was all about where we've been restricted and limited.
Yeah.
Now we're in a cycle where it's about innovation and progression and where we're going next.
Well, yeah, you're right. Because I tried a podcast 7 years ago. It failed.
Yeah.
Now I started this one 2 years ago. It took off quick.
Yeah.
And we're in the age of...
Pluto dipped its feet into Aquarius a little bit in 2023. Then it went in and out of Aquarius and Capricorn in 2024. And now it's fully in here. So it started to take off a little bit for you 2 years ago because you were already in like an energetic space that was going to support you to take this risk.
Wow.
Where that's what I'm saying. Like cycles are so important to understand. It doesn't mean you can't like manifest things in your life at any time period you want, but it's helpful to understand like what is the ocean you're in and how do you work with the undercurrent?
Yeah. Well, I'm big on momentum. So you might as well ride with the momentum than fight against it.
Yeah.
You know? So I definitely agree with that philosophy. So Neptune and Aries, is that right now too?
Yeah, that just started happening in March. Historically, the last time Neptune moved into Aries, we entered the US Civil War.
Jeez.
I'm not saying that's what's going to happen this time, but I'm talking about the energy. Neptune is a planet that likes to cause like fantasy and possibility and dreams. So like people like fantasize and glorify things with Neptune because you're like, you fall for like the potential of something and the illusion, right? But it also causes like disillusionment. So it's like illusions and you don't really quite see reality clearly. Like I always say, wherever Neptune is in our personal birth chart, that's the area of your chart you kind of have a blind spot to where you don't see things clearly, right? And everyone has it somewhere in their life, right? So Neptune moving into a sign like Aries, Aries is the warrior. Aries is the fighter. Aries likes to start conflict sometimes.
I know a few Aries.
Yeah. I mean, not in a bad way, but it's like, you know, people with a lot of Aries in their chart, like they don't wait for doors to open, they open them.
Yeah.
Right? They like to be leaders, trailblazers. They tend to be a little bit more impulsive, right? And reactive. So we're also stepping into this more impulsive, reactive energy. I'm noticing it in myself, right? You're probably noticing even driving on the roads, people are a lot more angry.
Yeah, I see that. Right?
Like we're seeing it everywhere. People are more reactive about stuff. So we have this planet of distortion of reality that's moved into a sign that's very strongly associated with fighting and glorifying fighting. So there's going to be a lot of campaigns and energy in general around like the glorification of conflict, the glorification of war, the glorification of fighting. So you're going to see this with like, I'm already seeing this on social media where they're like, I'm seeing more campaigns for enlisting in the military in the US than I've ever seen before, right? Because like, that's what they're saying. That's very like Neptune and Aries, like fight for your country, go to war and like, you know, fight with your neighbor and start a conflict here. Like it glorifies conflict in a way that maybe previously the energy we were in wouldn't have allowed us to do that.
Yeah.
So the way you work with is like figuring out, are you just being like, where's your reaction coming from? Are you just being impulsive and reactive? Or like, do you actually want to fight this person?
Usually it's not. Like usually you won't care in a few days about it.
Right. But the energy right now at play is allowing us to be more reactive, to be more impulsive. So you're going to see this play out everywhere.
So you got to be aware of that and have more control over your emotions.
I always tell people like, just take a deep breath.
Yeah.
I think we forget to breathe.
Definitely.
Like it sounds so simple, but when we're in moments of like rage and being triggered, like we just forget to just like take a deep breath and think about like, do you want to fight your neighbor because like you're actually pissed off? Or did they say something that triggered you that like brought you back to your childhood and now you want to like take it out on them and say like Aries, sometimes they say shit and then they have to backpedal after the fact. Like, I didn't mean that. I know I said it, but it's not really what I meant.
Yeah.
Right. So we're collectively now in this energy of impulsivity in our reactions. And then we're also being fed collectively this energy of like, well, it's okay to be that way.
Yeah. Kind of random, but I was going to adopt a dog yesterday. I looked up the breeder's name.
Yeah.
And she tried to run over her neighbor with her car.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Because you mentioned neighbors, so that just came to me. So I was like, never mind. Can I have the deposit back? Crazy,
That's
right?
crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But that's what I'm talking about. It's almost like, it's like a self-righteous anger. Like people, that's what Neptune in Aries is. It's like, I have a right to be angry because the world has fucked me for the past 10 years and nothing's gone my way. So like now I can be pissed off about it.
Yeah, that's the victim mentality. Gotta be careful with that.
Yeah.
Do you believe that notion that certain signs like don't get along? Like you can't date certain signs?
Yes and no. I believe that there are like, if we're talking about energy, I feel like there are lower vibrations and manifestations of signs.
Yeah.
And then there's like, more spiritually evolved versions of every signs. You know, I'm in this like astrology group, or I was in this astrology group on like Facebook or something. And somebody wrote, I'm somebody who's going to, you know, tell you a lie and then gaslight you to make you believe that, you know, you're the problem. What sign am I? And everyone in the comments wrote every single sign. Like it was like because everyone's had an experience with every single sign like that.
Yeah.
And I commented, I was like, guys, this is not a specific sign. This is a narcissist. Like, so every person has like a spiritually evolved vibration that they could step into. And then they have like a lower vibration. And I think that it really depends on free will. Like, are you choosing to evolve? Like every chart has potential. Not everyone's going to fall into their potential or choose to step into their potential. That's where the free will aspect comes in. I see a lot of charts of potential, but not everyone's going to reach theirs.
Is that a common thing?
Yeah, because most of the time, in order for us to reach our potential, we have to get really honest with ourselves.
Right.
And we have to like get tired of our own shit.
That's tough to do. Be honest with yourself. It's so easy to lie to yourself.
Yeah, well, it's easier, right? But there's no growth. That's what's comfortable, right? But there's no growth in your comfort zone.
Yeah. Part of the reason I think I'm successful is because like I mentioned earlier, I got bullied a lot and I kind of had to be honest with myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I kind of had to actually like listen to what they were saying and like internalize some of it.
Right. But some people would probably not do that. And they would probably be reactive and say, I'm getting bullied. I'm going to go, you know, start like a hit list of people at school and like show. I mean, I know that's extreme, but it does happen in the
No,
world,
it does.
right? So let's be real here. I mean, it's a matter, that's where the free will part comes in, right? Like, what are you doing with your experience?
Yeah. Do you believe the soul chooses the body?
Yeah.
You do?
I do.
That's interesting, right?
I hate people like, and I see clients every single day and they say to me, I chose this. Like I chose, and there's times I look at my own chart and I'm like, I can't believe I fucking chose this for myself, right? But we do, for whatever reason, we choose certain experiences. I don't know why. I would love to be enlightened enough to understand why. Maybe when I cross over, I will know all the answers by then. But
and you'll forget it again in the next life. That's how life works. Some people remember their past lives.
I wish
I don't know if that's good or bad.
I've heard mixed things. Yeah.
I got some past life therapy. Have you done that one?
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
I
figured out why I was claustrophobic. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Past life you got suffocated?
Yeah. Something about like me getting buried alive or something. And I just, yeah. I know it gets really dark, but yeah.
No.
And now I'm like, I get really claustrophobic whenever I'm like in.
Yeah. In elevators or whatever.
Not in elevators, actually. I'm fine in an elevator. It's whenever I'm laying down. And if something gets like I can't do like an MRI machine or something, I'll freak out.
Those are sketchy though. I just went in one.
Okay.
And I was too tall for it, so my legs were hanging out. But it was still sketchy because it's an hour.
Oh, you were in there for an hour?
Yeah, you can't move for an hour.
See, I would.
At least they have Netflix now, but still, like, my ADHD was going crazy there.
I would have been like, give me something to knock me out so that I'm.
Well, that was an option. They asked me before, but I had to film 8 episodes right after it.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I can't do that. But
and you stayed in there for an hour?
Yeah. Shout out to Prenuvo. It's a full body.
Oh, I just heard of Prenuvo.
Yeah. Full body MRI, preventative, detects cancer and all of these diseases.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's something that shapes, you know, what happened in past life. That's going to shape your lifetime now.
Yeah. For me, I had a heart attack in a past life. I was super stressed. And in this life, I would get these palpitations. I got so many heart scans and like I went to the ER a few times. Everything's normal. And then she cleared that. Gone. I don't get palpitations anymore.
I believe that.
Crazy, right?
I think there's a lot of stuff that manifests physically that is actually energy related. And we, you know, as human beings, naturally, we look for the science, right? So we're like, okay, let's go to the doctor. Okay, cross off all the boxes, check all the boxes, right? And nothing's, you know, happening on a scientific level. Maybe it's an energetic thing.
Right.
Yeah, but I think we tend to reach more towards like science and facts, which that's the reality we live in now, right?
With Western Western medicine.
Yeah, and it could be very energetically related.
I like having both in my back pocket.
What, both science and
Yeah. Because like
they're
I had,
important.
I got pneumonia once. It saved my life. But I also like the Eastern medicine stuff too.
I mean, I think that's the whole thing. There's a whole balance, right? Like that's one of my like biggest crutches with like the people in the spiritual community. I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this, but everyone's like, let's ascend all the time. And I'm like, guys, if we're always ascending out of our bodies, we wouldn't be here anymore.
Yeah.
Like we still have to live in 3D on Earth as human beings. So how do we handle the energy that's at play while we're still here in human form?
Yeah.
And people forget about that. So that's why I think the balance of the two is like, you don't want to be too grounded where you're not tapping into anything spiritually, because that's also not healthy. But you don't want to be too out of your body all the time where you're not grounding yourself enough.
100%. That's where they'll start losing me too. When they say money doesn't matter, I'm like, guys, we live in
a 3D world where that does matter.
Yeah. It matters a lot in America too. We're not in the jungle or anything where we can just...
I mean, that's another disruptor that's going to be happening this year too.
You think so?
Oh yeah. The real stock market crash hasn't happened yet.
Whoa, that's scary.
Yeah, I think there's going to be way more fluctuations with money stuff. I think there's going to be way more panic selling. I think there's just going to be a lot more disruption. The disruption's just getting started.
That's super
and like
scary.
A lot of people are messaging me saying, when does it get easier? I'm like, guys, it's just a lot of the energy this year is like clearing off the old and bringing in the new. And then next year is when the new really gets solidified. But we're still kind of in this like in-between limbo phase.
Yeah.
So we're not really done with clearing out all the old shit.
We've also been overdue for a recession for years. If you look back at history, like it comes every certain amount of years. We've been past that for years because we printed so much money.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I got a little piggy bank saved up.
That's good. That's smart.
Yeah, it's needed. I mean, crypto's down so bad right now. Do you have any crypto?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, look at you.
I'm not selling it.
Okay.
So
HODL?
I'm holding. By the way, guys, I'm not a financial expert, so please don't take financial advice from me.
Same
but
here.
I do think we are headed towards a more digital currency. And I know that's scary for a lot of people. People don't want to admit that. I think that is where some of the astrology is headed. I think there's going to be changes in currency. I think there's a lot more disruption.
Yeah.
With like what we value, how we spend our money, how we get our money. All these things. And I think that a lot of the astrology too that we're stepping into this summer is it's not going to feel exact or solidified, right? There's the the disruptor planet. There's another planet, Uranus.
Yeah.
He's coming in and he's moving into a sign, Gemini, right, in July. That's where I think more plane stuff is definitely going to happen too.
Damn.
But he's also coming in and he's going to bring disruption with like, currency and money stuff as well. So I think that the thing with Gemini is it's a duality sign, right? It changes its mind a lot. It flip-flops.
I could see that.
Right?
I know a Gemini.
So what happens is like what you think might happen in July, you're like, okay, is this the new thing now? Then it might change its mind in a month. Let's try this instead. Then it might change its mind in another month. Let's try this instead. So we're not going to really know what that's going to look like in the beginning of this cycle because there's going to be some flip-flopping back and forth. And that's going to be like really disruptive and triggering for a lot of people because I'm a certified control freak, right? Like we like answers.
Yeah.
Like just tell me where to put my stuff, where to put my money, like what do I invest in? And even for me, I'm like, well, we don't really know yet. Because you may think you want one thing and then 2 months later it may change again. We're already starting to see this kind of at play.
Yeah.
In big ways. So this is all just continuing to build. It's not going to end anytime soon.
How often are planets moving into new signs?
It depends. Certain planets, the moon changes signs every 2.5 days.
Damn.
That's why people who are like Cancer, have a lot of Cancer placements, they're connected to the moon. That's why Cancers get a bad rep. They get a rep of being moody. And I'm like, they're not moody.
God.
They're just connected to the moon in the sky much more energetically, like they're much more energetically connected to the moon than any other planetary alignment, which means the moon changes every 2.5 days. So they're going to feel the energetic shift more than you will, more than I will. So one day they're going to feel great. 2.5, 3 days later, they're going to feel like shit. Then 3 days later, they're going to feel empowered. 3 days later, they're going to be depressed again. It's because the moon is always changing.
I'm so
So
glad you
they're
told me this.
so connected in a different energetic way. So pop culture astrologers will say, yeah, they're moody. I'm like, but they're not moody. They're just tapped into energy that like most of us aren't. And that's always changing. So certain planetary alignments change in a few days. Certain ones take weeks. Others take months and others take years. Pluto usually spends between 15 to 25 years.
Damn.
In a sign. Pluto in Aquarius, this is a 20-year cycle.
I'm going to be chilling. Let's go.
You're in an ocean that's supporting you right now.
I love it.
Yeah. So it's like, it depends on the planet, right? Certain cycles are like 8 years long. Others, Neptune moving into Aries, that's 14 years.
Damn. Neptune in the Aries. Okay.
Yeah. That like glorification of conflict and fighting that I just talked about.
That's not good.
Yeah. So again, it depends on the planet. It depends on the energy.
I'm glad you told me that because my wife is a Cancer.
Okay.
So I'm glad I have that awareness now, at least, because before I had no reason.
So she needs to also, because she's so connected to the moon, she also needs to pay attention to like full moons, new moons, eclipses. So every month we have a full moon. Every month we have a new moon.
Yeah.
Every 6 months we have eclipses and eclipse cycles. Okay. So she's going to probably feel them more intensely than the average person.
That happens to her. Like she'll just feel random feelings.
Yeah. Because she's really connected to the moon.
Wow.
More than most people.
What do
right?
the eclipses do to her?
Like I said, every month we have a full moon. Every month we have a new moon. Eclipses are like full moons and new moons on steroids.
Ooh.
They're that energy really amplified. Full moons, I always say, are times for endings, completions, closing doors, closing chapters in your life, right? The moon is full, so something needs to end, right? New moons are all about new beginnings, new opportunities, fresh starts, planting new seeds.
Crazy, because wasn't it a new moon on Sunday?
That was a full moon.
Or full moon.
It was a full moon. Yeah, I definitely felt that one.
Yeah, Saturday night. Yeah. Wow. Do you do those sound bath things on the full moon?
Not always. I should.
I wanted to try that. It looks cool.
I should. I think that anything you can do to like, what I always tell people is whenever there's a full moon or new moon, spend some time alone. Like whether that's a sound bath, whether that's taking a bath, whether that's going on a hike in nature, whether that's just like journaling, like get connected to yourself so that you're not really being influenced by anyone else's opinion on what the answer is. The whole point is to connect to like your own energy.
Yeah.
So we're so good at like seeking advice from everyone else. Again, giving our power away. When we should also be connecting to ourselves at the same time.
Absolutely. What about the sun with all these solar like flares going on?
I mean, that's also going to increase as well. I mean, those are huge shifts that are happening as well in big ways. This is just a year, kind of like when I talked about my predictions with a lot of the fires and all the other stuff that was happening, we're just going to see a lot more changes in weather patterns in more extreme ways than we've seen in a long time. Because even energetically, we've been in, like up until this point in our lifetime, while we've been alive, not in a previous lifetime, but while you and I have been alive, we've been primarily in like a lot of earth and water energy collectively, a lot of the planets, right? For the most part. Okay. Earth likes to take its time with things. It's very grounded. It's very practical. It's very logical, right? Water, your wife is a Cancer, as you said, it deals with intuition and emotion. So we like to like ride the waves of our emotions and our intuition before deciding things. We like to take our time with things.
Yeah.
Now, all of these planetary shifts this year, the majority of them, all the big shifts, right, are all moving in from earth and water to air and fire. So this is not only going to manifest in collective energy, it's going to manifest in individual energy, how you respond to things. And number 3, weather patterns. We're already seeing it. So we're going to be going from more of like the tsunami, earthquake type of weather patterns to more wildfires, which is a prediction I made last year that's already starting to manifest.
Yeah.
We're going to see more wildfires. We're going to see more tornadoes. Listen, I know we have wildfire season in a lot of areas. I know we have tornadoes in a lot of areas, right? But we're going to see these things in areas that don't normally have them. Like I live in LA. We had a fire tornado in LA.
Holy crap.
In January.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't even know that was a thing either.
That's scary.
Right? One of my clients DM'd me and sent me, she was like, fire tornado. This is literally the thing you were talking about in your predictions a month ago. So like we're going to see more extremes in weather patterns. So the people, I've been telling everyone, the people that are like, well, this doesn't normally happen in my city. This doesn't normally happen in my state. I'm like, but there's shit happening now that doesn't normally happen.
Yeah. How long's that going to last?
A while.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We're not out of this.
That's not good.
So what I tell people is like, everyone, listen, I'm not like a doomsday prepper, but I also will tell people, I'm very honest with what I see. I just tell people like, make sure you're just disaster prepping. If you live in like Tornado Alley or Tornado Zone in the middle of the United States, and you're like, well, we haven't had a tornado in a while, and you know the energy is shifting into like more extreme tornadoes, make sure that your bunker is ready to go. Make sure you've got like your light on in there. Make sure you have whatever supplies you need. Like, if you wait until the car accident to get insurance, it's too late.
Yep. Even if you have insurance, he stays in Cali. Right. You're not even going to get your money.
Well, that's the other thing, right? I mean, how many places have we seen wildfires already? We saw it in LA. We saw it in
Hawaii.
South Carolina.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, Myrtle Beach was in flames.
Yep.
That's not a wildfire area, right? We saw a fire in Long Island this year. Hawaii, like Hawaii was,
a couple years ago.
Yeah. But I'm saying this year we're seeing things like that. We're seeing more tornado stuff showing up, and more like not even tornadoes. There's more disruption in wind patterns, right? Like people were messaging me like, there's such extreme winds that we haven't felt in this area before.
It's been windy here for no reason. It's been super windy.
So for you, because you're here in Vegas, it's probably going to be more dust storms.
Yeah. And we also didn't have rain for 200 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been super dry.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's air and fire. That's the energy we're in, which also means air spreads fire. That's why the LA fires got so crazy.
Yeah.
It's because of the wind, right? Because one little ember, the wind takes it to another part of the city, and all of a sudden you got a whole new fire starting somewhere else.
Yeah. Anywhere where people can get mentored by you or get a session from you?
Yeah. My website, asyarose.com. It's spelled ASYA. I'm also on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I stopped posting on TikTok and YouTube for a while, but I'm going back on there because
you got a strike.
I've said some disruptive stuff on Instagram. I don't think it's really likes me very much right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got banned on TikTok.
On TikTok,
I'm back now, but
okay.
Yeah, I got banned for like 2 weeks. Elizabeth April got banned around the same time. So truth will prevail. Yeah. Well, we'll link everything below. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
That was awesome. Check her out, guys, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.